With just 3 weeks to go until the election, Kamala Harris ramping up her media blitz. This week, she has been targeting black media outlets. She will appear today with Charlemagne the God in Detroit and did an interview with my next guest on the often viral black content media site, The Shade Room. Here's her response to being asked about whether or not black men will come out in strong support of her like they have done in the past for other Democratic presidents, although the polling shows they may not.
Let's be clear that your underlying premise is not an assumption that I'm supposed to have black men in my back pocket in terms of their vote, and that I should be taking that for granted, because I don't. Black men are no different from anybody else. They expect that you have to earn their vote.
Joining me now, host and investigative reporter for TSR, The Shade Room, as it's known, Justin Carter is with us, and you conducted that interview. You asked her a really interesting question about what happened with what President Obama said on the stump, where he talked to black men as he's standing there on a school campus, saying to them basically that sexism might be a part of why she is not getting the support that he believes she deserves, and certainly not the kind of support that he got. I'm curious what you are hearing from black men on what their feelings are on that.
Sarah, so good to see you and join you. Been watching you for years. Thank you for having me. Yes. And you know, this hit close to home to me, Sarah, too, because I am a alumni of the University of Pittsburgh. So my eyes and ears were open when he did say those things, and really challenging black men to think about that and think about a woman being president. And it did not land as well as he thought it was going to, and it kind of stirred the pot and ruffled a few feathers. When it came to just, you know, people on the internet saying that, you know, why are you lecturing to black men? You know, black men, they have a seat at the table. You don't have to spoon feed them into leaning one way or another. So that was just a very interesting perspective. And, you know, a former Ohio senator, she went on Twitter as well to express those sentiments as well. So, yeah, the bottom line is, you know, I go to these barbershops, I have family members. You know, I was raised by black men, and yeah, we do have a seat at the table. We do have a strong seat at the table. And really, at the end of the day, there is some truth in that. You know, we do not have to be lectured. We do not have to be spoon-fed into believing one thing or the other. We do have a capability of doing our research, doing our homework, and ultimately making the best decision.
You mentioned something there. Is it sort of, is it the sentiment that he said the quiet part out loud, but it's the way the message was handed over that didn't resonate?
Yeah, I think so. I really think so. And in fact, I got a message from the vice president's senior advisor who used to work for the Obama administration, and she just wanted to clear some things up. You know, he did say those things in a private setting. Of course, there were cell phones there, but the sentiment was not to put black men against the wall and make them feel bad for, you know, if they choose not to vote for the vice president for president. Really, the message was, let's think about this. Let's think about supporting, you know, a black woman for president, and not necessarily targeting their demographic.
What did you make of her answer when you asked her about this issue that has stirred up controversy?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. You know, her focus, she said over and over again, her focus is to make sure that she wins. And she said, you know, above all, you know, she understood, the former president, Barack Obama's message. She understood it. She got it. However, her focus, she said right now, is to make sure that, you know, she really earns the vote for black men. So I will say that she really didn't touch on President Obama's message 100%, but she did say that her focus right now is pushing past that and working on making sure she meets with black entrepreneurs, black families, to make sure that she does earn their vote, regardless of what the president said.
Justin Carter, thank you so much for doing the interview, for sharing that with us, and thank you for coming on early this morning with us here on CNN News Central. Appreciate your time.